What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
What's up, guys? Hello and welcome to the 356th episode of the Alfa Insurance Georgia Prep Sports Drive to the GHSA State Title. Today we've got three guests. Once again, we'll be hitting the Woodstock football program. Then we're going to be joined by the Cross Keys soccer team as they get ready for their matchup against McIntosh. They've had a phenomenal season, and then we'll close it out with Lassiter in the third segment. But let's go ahead and get started with Woodstock. Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Good to see you,
Doing
Craig.
Great. So I really wanted to have you on because we've been doing this show for a while. We're on episode 356, and a lot of the coaches that went up against you guys last year, they pointed out the improvement. They were like, Woodstock, they're heading in the right direction. They were impressed with the product. And so I wanted to ask you just, how do you feel about this year's team and the progress you've seen in the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's been great. You know, something with the higher last year in March that didn't get to the months of January and February. So we were able to do that this off season and build our bodies and with conditioning and nutrition and all the good stuff. We're looking forward here to spring ball. Spring starts May 6th, but we've massively improved. And, you know, looking back on last year, improvement when I'm taking the photo this year. With that, you know, and obviously, which just, you know, continue our scheme offensively and defensively moving forward with those and build our roster. And we were young and we played a lot, so hopefully that help us moving forward this year.
Yep, and where was the most growth you saw throughout last season, just as it went on, just where you felt like you guys were heading in the right direction?
Yeah, I think up front, you know, anytime the offensive defensive lines are new and young, you know, starting off is kind of tough with live bullets, but I think we improved up front. You know, we definitely getting stronger there in the off season now this year, so I think we'll be massively improved then. You know, some of our young kids got pulled up as 9th and 10th graders, so again, that experience at a varsity and Friday night level always helps and get be ready for, you know, this coming year for us for sure.
And then I'm looking at your staff. It looks like last year, Justin Pierce, the OC, DC, Andrew Price. Are you guys remaining mostly intact this year?
Yeah, we did. I think that's another great thing about our off season was we kept our staff intact. I'm blessed to really have a great staff. Coach Pierce and Coach Price do a great job, and we're kind of building on the schemes and did a lot of, you know, continuing education, went to go visit some schools in the off season, and we're adding to it too, but we were able to keep all of our coaches here in the building and on staff, so we're excited about that. And
then, I mean, every team wants to win. The kids are obviously motivated to get it done, but you have these core values and principles that you've tried to instill at the program. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we have a family atmosphere here. Our motto is family over everything. We hashtag FOE with everything, and it's on our shirt. That's our number one core value. And I think in high school ball that you really need to be, I understand at the next level it's getting to be a little bit more of a business, and obviously in the NFL it is, but I still think at the high school level, or you know, you kind of got to love on your kids, and it's got to be a family atmosphere. And we talk about sacrifice, discipline, and accountability with our kids, and I think, you know, we preach that, and I think our kids see that. And last year we grew from it, we learned from it, and it showed on the field. You know, we were definitely tougher for it, so hopefully we could take a step in the right direction and continue to build on that. And we bring a lot of back and on both sides of the ball, so that should be fun.
Yep, and the Woodstock area, that entire community, they love their sports. Huge football enthusiasm in that area. So what have you seen just the community around the football program and how excited you think they are for this season?
Oh yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I was interested and took the job for sure. Is this Town Lake area is a hotbed of high school football, and with Edgewood down the street, I used to work there too. So I mean, it's just the rivalry with those guys down the street is awesome, and it's just a great community. You have a lot of things happening, and everybody knows you, and just think it's a great football environment. We have middle schools kind of around the corner, or our middle school up here at Woodstock and Freedom also. So it's just a great baseball community, and we're definitely glad to be back here.
Yep. And so last year you guys picked up a nice road win over Lassiter. And then the Alatoona game, it was very close. You guys came up short in that one, but then you guys had the big win over Etowah. It was your first region victory since 2020. Talk about that stretch, though, and then what you think your team was able to build from that, just confidence-wise, beating a rival, picking up a region win, and kind of having that stretch between Alatoona and Etowah.
Yeah, and that's the difficult part was keeping the ship going in one direction, and we knew wins would come because of our hard work, past prep, and the way things were going. We had great practices and practice energy. We were telling our kids just with it against. They were really excited. The Alatoona game, you look at and train them how to learn to win games, close games. You really can't press that. So a lot of last year, the win last year, and then the game, losing by 3, and you look back at a couple of snaps here there, could have pulled, kind of guys down as your rival, which is always fun. Getting your first region win and learning that was really close, and coach does a great job down there. So, you can't really teach that in practice. You can kind of simulate it, but you really need those close snaps to get you better and better. And we were proud of our kids for finishing those and finishing in a tight game and learning how to win, because that's really tough.
And then talk about this offseason, though. Just you're talking about the difference between last year, but how you guys have really hit the ground running and how prepared you guys are going to be for May once you guys put the pads on.
Yeah, I think having a year under our belt, staff continuity, not anybody. Coach Brock doing a phenomenal weight room from December on, and we're just really excited. Our bodies are definitely changing, and we're excited to get out there and hit and get our 10 in and just see how improved we are. I think we will be in the experience we had last year with our playing. Even our young kids is just going to help grow and build what we're doing. There's a lot of excitement around us, and I think that's good, and a lot of expectation, which is important. I'm just really excited to see where we are and step foot on the practice field and let it go.
And then I think an area where we're going to see a lot of improvement, you mentioned the offensive line, but just the run game in general and how important that's going to be. You guys have been able to move the ball, spark some big plays, but being able to establish the offense. So talk about the running game this year and what excites you about this year's group.
Yeah, we're excited. We bring back a senior running back, Isaiah Payton, and a junior running back, Stacy, and they had some criticals for us, but we also have starters up front in the offensive line. So, and Coach Pierce does a great job of motions and shifts and getting our guys in the right position, our run game. So we're going to lean on that, do a little bit more 12 and 13 personnel this year, and kind of move the ball. We feel that's important, and setting the tempo of the game up front. And one of the things we really focused on in the off season was getting mentally and physically stronger, and not just building your body, but mentally also. And that happens in the run game. Anytime you can run the ball and run it down their throat, heart, and that's a great thing. And we're going to preach that in the spring, and then we're going to see how we do. But we're excited about it. We bring back a group, and our running back group is Coach Woe, Coach Walker, and we're really excited to get those guys running.
Yep, and I want to talk about the receivers real quick. It looks like Chase Kalina last year. He had a great season, over 700 yards, so he's going to be back. But who else in that receiving core is going to be able to stretch the defense and spark those big plays?
Yeah, Chase back is an all-region player. You know, he's our first all-region player in a little bit, and he had a really great season. Justin Year out returns. Will Furstein returns as our other receiver. So we bring a lot back. You know, it's a fun group to watch. You know, they make really good catches over the middle. Really tough kids too. They make the tough catch, and they had a really good year last year, and they're only going to get better. You know, another year in Coach Pierce's system for sure. That RPO scheme that he runs is really, really well run for us and does a great job, like I said before, of shifts and motion. So we expect that group really to be, you know, to coach well. They're coached well with Coach Smirker back, our wide receivers coach, and he does a great job with them, and they've been working real hard. So we expect big things out of that wide receiver group for sure.
Yep. And then last year your quarterback was Peyton Lynch. He graduated, but just talk about him a little bit, just what he was able to do last year to get you guys back on track and have a really solid season.
Yeah, we'll owe a lot of things to Peyton Lynch when we look back on this, hopefully in 10 years, and see what a difference it was from year one with only 2 wins, and hopefully build upon wins, a lot of wins from that point on. Peyton took over, you know, at a tough time. He was a first-year starter with only a few snaps the year before. And he came in and did a great job. Again, running Coach Pierce's scheme is not easy. A lot of shifts, a lot of motions, RPO reads, and all those. And he did a great job of really putting us in the right play, putting us in the right position, and really had a year. I mean, 1,800 yards for him total as a senior quarterback and a first-year starter was really unreal. And he did a great job, and we're really proud of him. And like I tell him all the time, we're going to look back and thank him, and he's going to come back and hopefully 10 years with his family and a good job and laugh at it and say what a great time he had.
Yep. I mean, he put up really solid numbers, high completion percentage, and obviously still working out that offensive line around him. But want to ask you, schedule-wise, who are you guys going to get to scrimmage before the season kicks off?
So our spring scrimmage, May 17th, we are at Cherokee. And our fall scrimmage is August 2nd at Centennial. And we will open our season August 16th at home versus Etowah. They are non-region this year because of the new region. So, you know, Coach Kemper and I have a great relationship, and we wanted to keep that rivalry going, of course, you know, down the street. So we're going to open with them on the 16th. So we're really excited about that at home.
For sure. And then that's obviously a team you guys beat last year. It's going to be a great season opener. Great opportunity to kind of learn about each of these teams. But I want to ask you about the quarterback position this year. What's it looking like heading into spring? Is there competition? And what's the biggest challenge at the quarterback spot?
Yeah, it's, you know, Peyton graduating as a senior. So it's kind of a 3-horse race. We have 2 sophomores, Graham Burmeister and Nolan Shaker. And we had a transfer come in from Kell High School. His name's Tony Williams, who's a big kid. He's 6'6", about 240. So all those guys are going to compete, you know, for reps in the spring and get graded every day and just see who kind of stacks up and how we do. But the quarterback does a little bit of everything in Coach Pierce's scheme. So he'll not only throw the ball, and now he's also going to be able to see, you know, what those kids can do in physical and make them live a little bit and get them a little hit in the pads and see how they react. So we're really excited, and we're really excited about the competition. They've been working real hard, having a great off season and changing their bodies and working hard in the weight room. So we're excited to see them throw it around a little bit and get hit.
For sure. And so, yeah, Peyton's gone. You lose a first-year starter that filled in, but it looks like you're going to have a lot of depth at quarterback. And did you say Tony Williams
was
6'6", 240?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's about 6'6". We're recently weighed in about 235 to 36. But yeah, he's a big kid. He's got a big arm, and originally from Detroit, Michigan. Came to Kell last year, and then came over to us. And he's just taking it all in, and we're going to see what he could do body wise, and definitely got a nice arm on him. So we'll see if he can compete, and we're excited to see him throw.
And real quick, what year is he?
He's going to be a senior. Yes, sir.
Okay. So it'd be very interesting. And so he arrived in the spring, or was it last semester.
Yeah, he arrived in second semester. Yes, sir. Yeah,
Gotcha.
in January. Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we talked about Chase, your receiver, but who else in this senior class are you excited to go out there, be the leaders? We talked about winning, but guys that are really going to buy in all season long and be the leaders you guys need.
Yeah, I think, we mentioned Isaiah Payton is a returning senior running back. Led us in rushing. We expect a big year out of him if we can stay healthy. And he's had a great offseason. Justin Yearout and Will Furstein will be senior receivers for us. But on the defensive side, we're really excited. We bring back our two inside linebackers, Andrew Burmeister and Cooper Price, who are our top two leading tacklers. So we're excited about that. We bring back a lot of experience on that side of the ball as well. So see what those two ends can do. We're going to play some young guys over there, but definitely led by seniors, and we're excited to see how they lead us and see if we're on that side of the ball as well.
Yep, and when I think of Woodstock, I played you guys when I was at Walton. I think of Trip Chandler, the big tight end.
Okay.
Obviously went to Georgia. But
yeah, there you go.
Who at the tight end position this year is standing out? What does that position look like?
Yeah, we got a couple young guys going to compete. Michael Dirks is a rising sophomore. He's going to play kind of that YH position in Coach Pierce's scheme. Burrell Cope is a rising junior. He'll compete at that position. And a senior, Elijah Kofer, is going to move over from the defensive side. We're going to put him over there. So, again, we got three guys to kind of compete for those kind of two positions, 1.5 of whatever you want to say, depending on the formation. So, Coach Pierce does a great job with a lot of personnel, in his offense. So we're going to try and do, a lot of 12 personnel, and hopefully we can, get downhill, run the ball a little bit, and get those guys the rock in the pass game. For
sure. And then you're going to be familiar with a lot of these teams in the region. Looks like you pretty much just lose Rome. You're going to have Lassiter, Creekview, Pope, Sequoia, and Riverwood. But I feel like this year you guys are going to find yourselves in a lot more four-quarter battles, closer games. So what's special teams looking like, and how excited are you for that phase of the game?
Yeah, that's an important piece. We put a lot of emphasis on that, and Coach Weaver, our special teams coordinator, does a great job of prepping our guys. So yeah, we bring back senior kicker Aeneas Matthias, so we're excited about him coming back. We had a kid last year who was a senior who's graduating for us, was a soccer kid, came to us and kind of shined at our place kicker spot. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the third phase, and really, we almost put an emphasis, like we tied for second. We don't call it the third phase. We call it the second, the 2B phase, because it's that important for us. So, we're going to get a lot of guys come back that played on kickoff, that played on return. Our top two returners come back. We got a couple young guys that can go, track guys that we have that play football for us. So hopefully we can make some big plays, in both return games and be able to kick it well. So, because that's a really important phase for us for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I really appreciate you coming on. I know you guys are going to be grinding in the spring, getting ready for this season, and what a better way to open it up against Etowah. I think that game's going to be electric and really exciting for the entire community. So thank you so much for coming on, Coach.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Have it. There goes Coach Devine, and I think it is going to be something to watch for. As I said, all the coaches that played them last year, they were like, hey, this is a team that's had some down years, but they're on the right track. And talked about the job last year that their quarterback did. Great numbers, 1,800 yards, more touchdowns than interceptions, but they struggled running the ball. They only had 66, I think, 0.5 yards per game. They were passing about 180 yards per game. And so if they can get that RPO offense, they bring in Tony Williams, 6'6", 240 pounds. That's a weapon. So it looks like they're going to have a lot of different pieces at this quarterback position. But I think the run game is going to be able to vastly improve. And then they've got the weapons outside. I think the offense will be improved. And then defensively, having an offense that's able to keep the ball in their possession is going to be the best defense. So I think Woodstock They have a great opener against Etowah, and that will definitely be a game we're going to feature and put on that scoreboard week 1. All right, but that's it for now. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
All right, welcome back, guys. So we're going to take a break from football and get into some soccer. We're going to be joined by Cross Keys head coach Otis Reddix. Coach, how's it going? Can you guys hear me? One sec. We're having an audio issue. We see you. Looks like you got the team with you. Hang tight. One sec, Coach. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. Say something. I want to see if I can hear you guys. I've got our sound guy checking on it right now, so hang tight. It should be working shortly. All right, so it looks like they've got the squad with them. All right, so they will play McIntosh on the 24th. They got the number 2 seed out of a really talented region. They are ranked, let's see, pretty high at this point. I think they are in the top 200 nationally. And they're coming off a big 4-0 win over Bradwell Institute in the first round. Coach Reddix has a ton of experience. He grew up in Jamaica, fell in love with the game of soccer. He's now been coaching and teaching for more than 25 years. He works on the Tucker Youth Soccer Association board. He played his collegiate ball at Young Harris College and Lander University, and then played semi-professionally for 4 years before getting into high school coaching. And this matchup against McIntosh will be a big one. Let me pull up our pre-playoff soccer rankings real quick. Okay, so in the final installment, McIntosh was number 1 heading into it. So far this season, they have outscored their opponents 79-7. They are 12-2-1 on the season. Their only region loss was to Tucker, and that gave them the number 2 seed, and that was in double overtime. And they're currently ranked 215th nationally. I think, let's look at where McIntosh is. Yeah, McIntosh, they are number 1 ranked in Georgia based off strength of schedule, and number 4 in the country. They've outscored their opponents 87-13. They are 19-0, and then in the first round they beat Dutchtown 6-0. Yeah, let's try one more time. I feel bad, they got the whole team. You hear me? Yeah, sorry, we're having issues. We cannot hear you guys. Okay, can you hang up, rejoin, and we'll try it one more time, please? Yeah, so just exit out of the link, click it one more time, and then it should work. We've had this issue before, but let's give that a try. And for those wondering, last season, Cross Keys has drastically improved their record. They were 9-6-2 last year, and they actually matched up against McIntosh in the playoffs. And that was a tough 3-2 game. So they're familiar with McIntosh. They went toe-to-toe with them last year. They know what they're up against, and this will be one of the more intriguing matchups of the playoffs. See a lot of soccer trophies back there. One sec. Still frozen. Yeah, so Cross Keys, we haven't featured them too much on the show, but this is a team that's been competing out of DeKalb County since 1958. They have a great community around them. Their soccer teams have been phenomenal. We've seen them do the thing in track as well. And looks like in football, they will be led by Eric Quarles, a second-year head coach. See if we can try one more time. Yeah, that is the Tucker Youth Soccer Association that he is on the board of. A lot of these kids play club. They are very skilled. They're bright futures outside of varsity soccer with their clubs that they participate on. The Tucker Youth Soccer Association is affiliated with the Atlanta United feeder programs, and it is well established. It's okay. All right, let's just look at some of the other matchups real quick. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Last year, 3-2 game, so they proved that they can go toe-to-toe. They've, as we mentioned, drastically improved their win total, going from 9-6-2 to now 12, I believe, 2-1. Their only loss in the region was the double overtime to Tucker. They're going to have to go to McIntosh. We got him?
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yes. All right, thanks for bearing with us, Coach. So it looks like you guys got the whole team with you right now. I want to ask you just what's been the biggest difference this season, besides just the margin of victory, just the way you guys have gone out there and improved your win total this year?
I think we did good last year, and my first year, and I changed the system, so these guys know. They use the system, so we're getting better. When you're a new coach and you come in, because I've been at Cross Key, but I was coaching the girls before, so the first time working the boys was last year. And we introduced a new system, and I think these guys, off of first year, second year, they get much better at it.
Absolutely, and I was noticing, the defense this year, you guys have limited opponents to very, very few goals, so who stepped up defensively for you guys, and how have you changed that scheme?
Well, in terms of defense, our defenders got better, but we only had one from last year, so I think we can ask Mr. Astor. He's the only defender from last year's team. We had 3 new defenders. So what do you have to say about what you think made us improve?
I think what made us improve about the season is the defense. We've been working on it really hard. Coach been teaching us a lot of things, and yeah, that's mostly it. And working on it so far. It's working out pretty good.
Absolutely. And I was pointing out your region. You guys had the tough loss to Tucker, but you guys played some really quality opponents in the region. Talk about how that's prepared you guys for the playoffs.
It prepared us well, and like I said, we did very well last year. We made a few mistakes, so we end up playing the number one team. Actually, this team, McIntosh, we played them last year in the first round, but we won. We did pretty good last year, and we ended up the fourth seed, and we meet the tough team, and we did very well against them. It was 3-2, so we're confident that this year we're going to go down there and claim our victory.
Yep, and when I look across the classifications in soccer, I think Class 5A is honestly, it's like the most exciting. There are so many powerhouses, teams like Dalton, McIntosh, all over the national rankings. So what's it been like just this year in Class 5A, and then how confident are you guys to go out there and continue this playoff run?
Well, we always have good teams, and we know about it. But Krosky, like I said, I've been here since 2015, but I just started coaching the boys last year. And so this is the fifth time playing them. And they have always beat us, but it's always been one goal, so it's always been close. This year we just realized we're overdue because we have always been out there. So the guys work hard and they prepare, and we had about 8 players that we maintained from last year. And we also gave a lot of our JV players opportunity to play varsity last year, so they're much more prepared. And definitely, we think this year we're going to take it. It was unfortunate that we lost the region. I think we played better than the team, but we didn't finish our chances.
That's right. And so you said you've played McIntosh about 5 times now. Obviously, adjustments are made during the game, but what is it about McIntosh's style that you see watching film or just having played them? Are they defensive oriented? Are they more of an aggressive team or just kind of solid all around?
They're solid, but teams have a hard time stopping them because they have this. They've been playing the same way for like 20 years. Because, like I said, I've been around for a while, and they've been throwing the ball, and a lot of teams have a hard time when they throw that ball inside to the goalkeeper. So we've been working on a plan to counter that, and I think very well, because that's it. 80% of the goal or more they score by set plays. So we've been working on that, and we also have good firepower up front.
Yes, you do. And one of the names I see is Jefferson Diaz. He has, I think, 20 goals on the season. So is Jefferson there? And talk about the sophomore a little bit.
He's not here right now. He's a prolific goal scorer. So most of the guys I have is the seniors. I thought I would bring them since they've been here and been playing. But so Jefferson is not here today. But he's very good. He's our main striker. But we also got, guys here that supply him to make it easier for him. We got our captain here. These guys are very good. They're experienced player, and they're the one who creating those chances.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So he's got the 20 goals, but if you look at the assists, it's everyone setting them up. You guys are have been able to do that all year long. So just give us the names of the seniors you got with you right now, and just tell us the position and then how they've contributed this season.
Okay, so I start with Oscar again, so they know it's you. This is Oscar. He's a defender. Then we have Jonathan, but you can't see Jonathan face over here. He's one of our main guys. He's one of our captain. A very good player. Then we have Jason. Jason been with us 3 years, 3 or 4. 3 years. Then we have Frank here. He's also one of the captain. Very good player. Forward. Jason's a midfielder. And then we have Eduardo. He's a prolific player. He scored a lot too. Okay.
Gotcha.
So yeah, these guys are they were the ones who played with me last year. So they're the one kind of helped me to get the new players, understanding what we're trying to do, and it's been working out.
And then I'm not 100% confident in the high school rules, but in terms of substitutions, have you guys been able to utilize that strategically, keeping your guys fresh throughout the game?
Yes, sir. And that's the difference this year. We have better players. Like, last year we might have 14, but this year we have about 20 players. So when we substitute play and give them a rest, we still maintain the standard. Or if it drop, it don't drop too much. So that's been part of the success that we have in this year.
Okay, and we talked about the prolific scoring of Diaz. So, have you seen some of the more evenly matched teams try to neutralize him? And then, how has that brought up opportunities for some of the other guys?
Well, we play more than one formation, and one of the things that I introduced, I made sure my players can play in many positions. So a lot of time we're able to adjust, even move players around. Even when teams try to scout us, they have a difficult time because the players, they play 3-4 different positions, so we can move them anywhere. So if you watch a film here, next time they might be in a different position. And these guys understand the game very well, and that's why they're helping us, So we know it's a challenge, especially since we got to go to McIntosh. And we know they're very, a very disciplined team. And that's one thing we're trying to work and be disciplined, because my players, they're real good and they allow to express themselves. But I know in that game, we're going to have to play specific roles.
That's right. And so where's the balance between being aggressive and then having that discipline to not make the mistake?
Well, the balance, like I said, the thing with what sometimes we get too relaxed, especially if it's a game that we are dominating. And I'm trying to, especially the players, that to stick to the plan, the game plan. Sometimes when the team is easy, maybe everybody want to go score. And I know, like in the Broadwell game, we played very well. We probably could have scored more, but everybody wanted to start scoring then. So, and I know because the experience we have against McIntosh, we know that they're very disciplined and they will exploit errors if we don't stick to the game plan.
That's right. And then looks like you've had to travel some this season, but how far of it is the game going to be against McIntosh? It's probably about an hour and a half away. And I think it's because of really traffic. And normally when we come back in the night, we get back faster. So right now it takes us about an hour and a half to go there. Okay, so not too far. And then break down the Bradwell Institute game a little bit. 4-0 victory by you guys. Ramosa's goal still scored early on.
That's right. Well, we watched them and we were well prepared for them. To be honest, we were expecting it to be tougher, and we wanted to, pressure them real early, and try to get our goal. And we got a goal in the first minute. And, once we got that goal, then a few minutes later, we get a second goal. And I knew then, that we had them. So it wasn't as difficult as we thought it was going to be.
And starting
we had a
fast,
few players. And we got sorry about it. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was going to say starting fast has obviously been something you guys have done all season long. So how equipped are you guys to come out there with that effort early on and then be able to sustain it for the entire game?
Well, that's what we've been working on. So, normally we end up canceling. Well, we didn't cancel them, but we weren't able to play 3 of our games against 3 tough teams. So we used that time plus some of spring break to condition, because the way we play high tempo, I knew that the players would get tired after a while. So I remember against Tucker, we had a lot of players cramping up. So we've been working on fitness. So even though we didn't play those 3 competitive games, we used the time to, work on our conditioning. And like I said, we got guys who can come on and maintain the level. So that's the main thing, manage the players, making sure that, they can come on, get a rest, and then return. So, and, like the experience playing with them, we know what to expect. And these guys are ready. That's why I have these guys in the senior, because they have been through it already.
Yep, and then
we were close. We're done. Yes, sir.
Sorry, Coach. I was going to say last question because we're running out of time. But you guys have this weekend to prepare. You guys are going to be well rested. So what's the schedule going to look like before the 24th?
Well, Monday we're going to work and pretty much work on how to defend those set plays. Tuesday we will work on some set play ourselves, and just, mainly things to inspire these guys just to go out there and get the job done. These guys are going to graduate, and I would like to win a championship with them. And I think they all already. You ready, guys?
Hey, well, you guys are definitely welcome back. I hope you guys get it done. Best of luck. I really appreciate it, guys. Go Indians.
We appreciate it, too. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. All right, so there goes Cross Keys. And, yeah, can they knock off McIntosh? Would be obviously the biggest win they've had. But as I said, they played 5 times. Every single one's been determined by a goal. They've got a week off since their last playoff win. So certainly will be fun to watch. All right, so let's take one more quick break. Thank our sponsors. We'll be back on the other side.
Hey, does it matter if this leaks?
It don't matter to me, can't see it from my house.
Illegal use of hands, improper training.
GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com has 14 different highly skilled trades with tuition-free training in our certified apprenticeship programs to train you the right way. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
All right, welcome back, guys. So we're going to be joined now by Lassiter and Coach Sean Thom. Okay, we're still waiting for him. Give us just a sec. And the reason I wanted to have him on, so I've been around the Lassiter area recently, like to run on the track, and every time I go there, I see football players out there doing individual drills. So I know they're football junkies. They have obviously been working hard. They had a solid season last year. We've seen some of their players in our Georgia Elite Classic this year. I think a receiver and a DB really stood out. So we've got some young guys. I know the youth program has been building these players up, and so I think Lassiter is going to be ready to take that next step this season. And I've seen firsthand the work they've been putting in individually, so I want to talk about what spring is going to look like for the Trojans. We have Coach Thom yet? One sec. So last year it was a 1-9 season. It was, I'm trying to think, defensively, it was 45 points per game. They did get the win over Johns Creek, but then it was just a really tough region. Had to play Roswell, Blessed Trinity, Pope, Sprayberry, and Alpharetta. Pope game was very close, but I just have a feeling, I was watching some of their film, same situation kind of with Woodstock. They were able to move the ball through the air. Had some solid receivers making some really exceptional plays. And so I feel like once the run game is able to provide that consistency offensively, I think they have the weapons, they have the scheme, and they'll be able to turn these into four-quarter games and really bring back a proud tradition at Lassiter. One sec, guys. So let's look at their schedule for the season really fast. Oh, we got them?
Guys, if you can hear me.
Coach Thom, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You got me?
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. So before you joined us, I was mentioning the fact that I've been by Lassiter a bunch this offseason, ran at the track a few times. Every single time I go out there, I see some of your football players just putting in the extra work. So I know they are ready to get back in pads. They're ready for the spring. What are you excited about, though, with this year's group, and have you seen the same thing just with their work this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit on it. These guys are hungry. Very impressed with these guys this offseason. I mean, it started obviously earlier than we wanted. But, man, these guys from really December on, really the last 5 months have done a phenomenal job. So excited just to be back in, we'll call it, football season. We're in phase 2 for us now. And so looking forward to what these guys are going to do. I think a little more consistency when you talk about everybody on the coaching staff coming back. Didn't lose anybody. So excited both offensively, defensively, special teams to get these 9 practices in, and then can do when we go over to Kennesaw Mountain on the 16th.
And that will be, is that May 16th?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're going to have Kennesaw Mountain as the scrimmage. That'll be exciting. And then I was watching some of your film from last year. I think the Sprayberry game as well, was the one I was looking at. Looks like you guys had the ability last season to spark plays in the passing game, but maybe this year it's about finding the consistency up front, getting the run game going, and then having the confidence in those guys outside.
Yeah, 100%. As we've kind of gone through, we've got to be more consistent offensively. We looked going into the offseason, really a lot of our study and what we wanted to focus on was really the intermediate passing game. We have what we have. We don't necessarily have the guy who maybe is going to take one off the top, but we have some guys that are tough, physical, especially coming up, our rising 9th graders, rising 10th graders that we think can contribute and help us out. We've got to be more consistent at the quarterback position. We're looking forward to spring there. We've got 3 what we feel really good guys, going to be a senior, junior, and a sophomore. So there's going to be a healthy competition that takes place at the end of this month leading into May. We got to be better. That's the one spot, I think, up front we really have to figure out. Depth has been a huge issue for us really the last 5 years. And so, you look in the school building, is there anyone we can add? But then we've really at that position, we've got to train our guys in a way that they can go both ways, especially up front, just because size is one of those things we might be a little limited in, just at natural size. So looking forward to it. We really like what we did this offseason, scheme change-wise. Like I said, the coaching staff having a really full offseason with them. We brought in a new quarterbacks coach last year. He did a phenomenal job, but I think him being able to go through quarterback school with those 3 guys is really going to pay dividends down the road.
Yes, sir. And so that's Joshua, Mitch, and then Levi. Levi was the starter last year, so that's valuable having a guy that went through the season in that quarterback competition. Looks like he was able to spark some plays with his legs as well. I watched some of that. But what do you think about just those guys and maybe their skill sets being different, or do you think they're all going to be able to run the similar system?
Yeah, they each have their own unique, I think, qualities. But for what we're doing and what we're asking the quarterback to do, I really think they can all contribute. We said as a staff, our last staff meeting, we kind of said, look, we don't want to play this multiple quarterback system. My belief, and I think sitting down with our OC and our quarterbacks coach, it's tough on a guy to know that there's someone always over your shoulder. You want that healthy competition. But our goal is to kind of get through spring ball and maybe name a guy, something we really have not had the luxury of doing. So there's, like I said, going to be a healthy competition. We think all 3 of them can run the ball. You look at Josh Frere, the rising sophomore. He primarily was our starter on sub-varsity last year and did some really good things with his legs, threw the ball well. Mitch and Levi, I think, are very similar. Strong kids, really good lower bodies. They spin it well. Got to be a little more consistent, I think, in making our progressions. But then running the ball, we like for them to run it, but I think that's one thing we talked as a coaching staff. I think we relied on that maybe a little too much in the read game. And obviously, anytime your quarterback is leading you in carries, I don't want to say – I mean, it's not a good thing. He's obviously taking extra shots. And it's much easier for defenses to key in on it. So we want to be a little more balanced in that nature. But I'm excited to see who's going to step up and take the job. They've all 3 had phenomenal off seasons, and now we're going to go out there and compete.
Yep, and then you mentioned Levi. He was a pretty big contributor in terms of the rushing yards for the season, but feeling you guys are going to be bringing in some underclassmen this year within that running back rotation. So who are you excited for just this spring to kind of get into this offense and be able to see what they can do?
Yeah, so at that position, that's the one we actually kind of focused on and said, all right, we got to find a guy here and not let it be so rotational in nature. So we've got a rising sophomore, Tyler Morton, that I think he's going to be pretty dang good. I mean, he has done a phenomenal job. We kind of went through the beginning stages of the offseason and we said, you know what, he may be more of a Y, a guy who can put his hand in the dirt but split out. But, man, he I think has proven he can carry the load. He did it a lot on sub-varsity. He got a little action on Friday nights last year as a freshman. But I'm really looking forward to seeing him. We've got another upcoming sophomore, Damon Goins, that is an absolute workout warrior. more predominantly defense last year, but he's another kid, extremely explosive. We're looking forward to seeing what he can do. And then, some people say it's not good to be relying on so much youth, but we have a kid coming up who's a current 8th grader. He's been with us the last 4 months, extremely dynamic. We have invested a lot of time, a lot of energy in our junior program the last 5 years, and I think we're going to start seeing that pay off with a lot of these kids that have been on our program the last 5 years. So Jude Galloway would be that 8th grader that I think is going to come up and surprise a lot of people. If he ends up being the guy, I'm a firm believer that you play your best at whatever position. And, over the last 5 years, I think we've started 5 freshmen. A couple of them have gone on to careers at the next level. So excited to see what all these young guys can bring to the table.
Absolutely. And at the Georgia Elite Classic this year, Najee and I covered the 8th grade game. You guys had about 5 guys out there, and 100%. You said dynamic with Jude. He looks like he's just ready to play and should be able to hit the ground running. So you said it's been about 4 months now where he's been kind of tiptoeing towards an opportunity to come in as a freshman and be able to contribute.
Yes, sir. Luckily, our administration has really helped us out. We started bringing those guys in right after the break. They come in Monday through Thursday, about 6:45, and then we get them on a bus and get them to the middle school whenever we complete the workout. But you're familiar with probably a lot of those guys. Mitch Seaman has a younger brother, Blake, that likewise I think can help us out on the perimeter at receiver. Just very impressed with their maturity, I guess. That's one thing that stood out to me, and they're only going to get stronger. A lot of these kids, we started scratching the surface in the weight room, but now seeing them 2 cycles in, really excited about what they're going to bring to the table. We obviously get to see them for 10 days coming up, actually get our hands on them outside of just being out there helping out with the junior program. See with spring game, our plan, we feel like we've got a very good plan we don't want to just make the 4th quarter of the spring game all young guys. We want to sprinkle those guys in against some of the upperclassmen that Kennesaw is going to have to put their feet to the fire and see what they're going to be able to do for us come fall. And then obviously summer is going to be crucial, getting those guys for 6-7 weeks to be ready to go whenever we go against Campbell in that first scrimmage.
Yeah, Blake was very impressive. I actually saw him at practice too. He was getting a ton of reps, great routes, great hands, and yeah, he's going to be ready. What about Miles Moore though? Is he still coming to the program?
Yeah, so Miles is obviously a current 7th grader. Looking forward to having him back. Miles is a kid that we've talked about, and again, we love all our kids. One of our things is we're going to keep doing what we can where we are with what we have, and we truly believe we've got a lot of great kids here, but the class is coming up. I mean, 8th grade that's coming to us this year, won a championship a couple years ago. 7th grade, the team Miles is on, Caden at quarterback, Drew McGee. I don't even know if those guys have lost a game. They've won 4 straight, I think, since 4th grade on. Curtis McGee does a great job with that group. So, I mean, there's something coming. Our job as coaches is keeping them here, and I think that starts with relationships. And we're obviously in constant contact with them. We're trying to get our hands on them as much as we can, whether it's in the weight room. Whenever they're out here getting work in, I believe they're starting spring practice next week. So, we feel like we got this thing rolling. We're doing the right thing. We just got to keep the main thing and keep working.
Yep, I didn't realize Miles was a 7th grader. He's definitely special. He was phenomenal. And then one of the things we saw in that middle school game, the tackling was exceptional, like textbook. I was blown away that these young middle schoolers were able to make the difficult open field tackle. So what do you think about this year's team defensively? How important that's going to be, the secondary, to be able to, against some of these more explosive teams, just have the form to be able to bring down guys and not allow those yards after contact.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the game has changed. We know that. A lot of people, I was talking to a coach, a couple weeks ago, he said, I'm tired of playing basketball on grass. But, it is what it is. Defense is going to be huge. That's another area we had been pleased the last 4 years. And then, last season, a little disappointed. We feel like we did not take the ball away enough. So that's something as we started doing our off-season study, it's like, what, we've got to be able to set the offense up in these favorable situations. So that's been a huge area of focus. And then tackling, it's always the big thing. I think it has gotten harder because of the limitations that, the game's changing. You only have so much contact time that you can have. So we've tried to find unique ways with our middle schoolers going into the wrestling room and doing non-contact drills where we're getting in the position we need to be able to make the play, putting them in those uncomfortable situations we'll talk about. And it's something, without contact, we do on a daily basis. We truly believe it's got to be rep daily in order to be good at it. And especially when you talk about the kids that you saw, they are phenomenal when it comes to individual work. They take great pride in it, putting themselves in position to make a play. And, we just had a backers meeting yesterday, and, we talked about it starts with great footwork. We got to be able to block, destruct. But at the end of the day, you can do everything right. But if you can't finish and make a tackle, you can't play. And I think that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to football. And it's something that we're going to continue to work on and going to have to be good at if we want to accomplish some of the goals that we've talked about as a team.
Yep. And then how do you feel about the depth defensively this year, just going into spring compared to last year?
Yeah, feel much better. When we kind of sat down and started the offseason back in December, you start kind of slotting guys where you feel they can play. I think one thing we're doing a little different, past 2 or 3 years, we have been Ironman football. We kind of took the approach, our best players have got to play. And so we were truly going in on a Friday night, relying on maybe 25 to 28 bodies. It's usually good for a quarter and a half, maybe halftime, midway through the third quarter, fourth quarter. You could tell just at depth they were getting worn down. So we have kind of decided to maybe platoon a little bit more, really at all positions except O-line, D-line, just because of our situation here at Lassiter High School. We like our secondary. We're going to be a little young, but I think it's extremely talented, guys that are football savvy. They've got high IQs. I'm really pleased with our linebackers. That's going to be our most experienced group. We return a senior in Bryce Parker, and then we have 2 rising juniors that both started as sophomores last year. So looking forward to that group. And then we've actually, with the way the game has changed, we've taken a lot of those linebacker tweener bodies and we're going to move them up front. We've got some long kids. We've got a rising junior in Jake Johnson that's about 6'2", but is extremely long, athletic, strong. We took another linebacker, moved him up on the perimeter. And then we have 3 or 4 bodies that we feel like can rotate at our nose and 3 technique. So really excited. Obviously, you can go in with a plan. Good Lord willing, we stay healthy because that can always throw a wrench into things. But looking forward to see how these guys develop over spring. And then get a summer with them that they're going to continue to get stronger and kind of hone things in and be ready to go come August.
Yep. And then, Coach, last question. Talk about the offensive line. You said you're going to have to maybe play guys on both sides of the ball, but who do you feel like is going to set the standard, be a guy that you can rely on every snap in the trenches?
Yeah, so really I think 2 guys. When I look at the offensive line, I look at a guy like Colin Rex. Colin Rex has been in the program for 4 years. He's about 6'4". Honestly, he played last year at about 185. Is not ideal as a tackle. He's up to about 225 right now, which, again, some people still say is small, but this kid is smart. I think he's going to continue with his frame to add weight before season. And he's just, he's a thinker. And he plays with great technique. I think he's going to do a good job anchoring. We've got a young man by the name of Chase Jones, also plays lacrosse. one of the strongest kids, I think, just pure strength, who's come through our program. And again, he's another 6'4", long body, about 238 pounds right now. He's going to be someone both defensive line and offensive line we're going to rely on. And then interiorly, we've got a returning senior in Noah O'Neal, who's just, again, weight room warrior, a little undersized, but again, extremely strong. And then we do have some holes we've got to replace with graduation and some other, circumstances that take place at the school. So looking forward to Keegan Sellers and then our rising freshman class. We have some guys that we think can plug and play. The day, that's what spring's for, and then hone this thing during summer. So that's where we really got to focus. It all starts with our offensive line. We got to keep our quarterback upright. We got to be able to, maintain blocks and show a level of physicality so that our running backs, those guys we talked about, the Mortons, the Goins, give them a seam so they can do something. And if we do that, we like our chances as we move towards the fall.
For sure. And I think with Chase and Colin, looks like those are guys that they might not be around the 300 pounds, but they have speed that they're also bringing to the offensive line. So overall as a team, though, how confident are you in your team's speed and being able to use that as an advantage, line up against any of these rivals, opponents, and know that you can go toe-to-toe with them and beat them with the speed?
So I'll be brutally honest with you. I like what we have, but with certain teams, we're going to have to use more than speed. We don't have many 4-4 guys out there that are running, but I do think we have get through scheme, through making adjustments in game, coverages, whatever the case may be, that we can put these guys in a situation to be successful. And at the end of the day, that's what we talked about as a coaching staff. Our job is to coach them hard, to love on them, but ultimately to give them a shot to be successful on Friday night. So as I look at the schedule and started reviewing months ago and just started breaking down tape, there's obviously a lot of talent on our schedule. You're not going to play in this state and not see talent, but I really like our chances, understanding that our kids just – how administration has helped us and how we've structured our offseason the last couple of years, they are so much more football savvy, which I think at the end of the day, I can play with a kid who may not be a 4-4, but as long as he understands film, he's got a great desire, great work ethic, I think we can get them to be in a position where they have a chance to be successful, and then we just have to finish. So that's kind of where we're at and what our belief is.
Fantastic. Well, Coach, I cannot wait to see you guys in 2024. Thank you so much for the time today. I hope you guys have a great weekend and good luck in the spring.
Hey, I really appreciate it, and thank you very much for what y'all do for the sport in Georgia.
Trojans. All right, so let's look at the schedule real quick before we close up the show. So he's talking about the team speed. I feel like Lassiter, you look at their defense, they're going to be very experienced at the linebacker position. Not giving up the big plays. They've got some young guys in that secondary that can tackle well. Holding up on coverage, though, and not missing tackles, that'll be key. But they're going to play Midtown and Alexander the first two games. They beat Midtown last year. Midtown will be much improved. And then the Alexander game, that's one of the fastest teams in the state. So they're going to get tested with the speed. But then they go into a region where I think it's more favorable than it has been in recent seasons. I think they have a chance to open up against Woodstock. That was a very competitive game last year. And then they've got Pope, who's also on an upward trajectory, Sequoia, Riverwood, Sprayberry, and then River Ridge. So they were 1-9 last year. I think they're going to improve that win total for sure. And I think once these guys, they've been putting in the work, they might get tested early, but I think they're going to be able to sail the ship and improve throughout the season with some of these young guys. So another interesting team to watch. And we talked to both of them today, Lassiter and Woodstock. They will be in the same region. But that is it for today. I want to thank all our guests for coming on. Go to scoreatl.com. We've got all the spring sports coverage. We've got the gymnastics state championships today, and then soccer playoffs obviously coming up. And my final baseball rankings are also up on the page. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a good weekend.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.